Welcome back to The Story Now. Jazz lovers are in for a treat as the famous event Jazz in the Lights Music Festival makes a comeback at the Johannesburg Zoo on the 29th of this month. The jam-packed lineup promises to delight jazz aficionados. I'm now joined in studio by Vuyisile Mshudulu, who's the City of Johannesburg's Director of Arts, Culture and Heritage. Vuyisile, thank you so much for your time and for joining us.
Thank you so much, and greetings to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika.
No, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. So for golden oldies such as myself, this concept was Jazz on the Lake many years ago, and now it's the Jazz in Lights Music Festival. Just talk to us at what you're aiming to attain with this concept.
So the City of Johannesburg has been running Arts Alive for 33 years now. When we reached the pinnacle at 30 years, we decided to rebrand and reimagine Arts Alive, And now Arts Alive is not just a simple music festival, it is an assemblage of artistic offerings. And one of the flagship artistic offerings has always been the Jazz on the Lake, those who would remember. But when we got to 30 years, we realized that, Jazz on the Lake is a youth-focused event.
Yes.
And we wanted to create something that is more family-friendly, something that is a lifestyle experience, and people can also get to enjoy the zoo amenities. And that's how we came to Jazz in the Lights.
And as the city, how important is it for there to be a continuous existing of cultural festivities within our communities?
Well, the city of Joburg is one of the leaders in terms of cultural capital in the country and arguably in the continent of Africa. And I mean, there are very few cities that compare to Johannesburg in terms of being a cultural melting pot. And one of the things that we've realized is that the music of jazz is an important catalyst that also informs the formations of other musical genres.
Of course.
But we've also realized that it's one that is very under-supported and underfunded, under-published, and under-broadcasted in many ways. People get to listen to jazz once a week. And we wanted to curate an authentic jazz festival and not, conceal a music festival as a jazz festival. And that's why you will see from our lineup, we've got an exciting lineup that's got, a lot of legends from Babu Feafaku, Babu Kaya Mahlangu,
Yes.
Thandiswa Mazwai, and Kalo Mombeli. And then we also have a lot of established artists such as Gabi Mduba, Nomfundo Kaluva, Ndabo Zulu, And sadly, one of the acts that we had, put together, because this festival, given that it's an intergenerational mixed festival, we also are trying to build a future following for jazz music.
Yes.
And that's why we cater for children, we cater for young people. And to cater for the young people, we had Sis Amanda Black. But sadly, we had Yalunde on the lineup and she passed on. And we want to extend our condolences to the family.
Certainly.
But we will be paying a tribute to her in the festival as well.
And now that you've touched on that lineup, I like how intentional you have been in how you've put together this lineup in terms of gender balance, inclusivity with people living with disabilities, as well as the geographical balance as well. And like you mentioned earlier on, that a lot of jazz artists are not getting support and they're not getting enough stage time, and for you to reintroduce them to different generations was something that was very intentional in putting together this lineup.
It's not easy putting together the lineup because you have to balance against the demographic elements, but you also have to look at the artistic elements, balancing against instruments, who leads with the guitar, who leads with the saxophone, and so on. And we try and create a good balance. But one thing that I think distinguishes Jazz in the Lights is that we have never missed when it comes to our lineup. It's quite exciting. It's an eclectic mix of musical experiences for many people, and that's always one of the great takeaways from the festival.
Of course. And with any festival or tourism activity, there certainly is that line back to the economic activity that surrounds this festival. Just talk to us in terms of the temporary jobs that are created during this time and just the economic activity that happens around Jazz and Lights.
Well, Arts Alive as a whole is a serious injection into the creative industries or the cultural economy, of the city, but also of the country, because we know that Johannesburg is a leader, and therefore, in many ways, when it comes to the creative economy, we service the country, And this is very important for us because you know, not getting stage time means also being deprived economic opportunities.
Of course.
But what we also look at as a city, it's not just from a production level in terms of the performers, but we look across the value chain, you know, the people that are offering other services within the creative economy, from the stage, the sound, you know, and PR and so on, that those are the services that puts together this kind of mammoth event. And we are excited that at the end of the day, you know, there is an economic injection into those areas.
And any other ongoing programs outside the festival that sort of still keep the artists alive?
Yes, we've got a lot of exciting programs. We've got, you know, exhibitions in our museums. We've got other music programs. Today we just came off from Catch a Fire, which is part of the Arts Alive festivals, because we also realized that one of the genres that are under-supported is reggae music.
Yes.
And it is for that reason that we also have Ntate Colbert Mokwevo on our jazz festival lineup, because we're trying to facilitate opportunities for these artists that never get an opportunity to perform and earn an income.
And in the most previous years of the festival, what's the attendance been like? Are you finding a lot of South Africans, especially those young families, coming through and enjoying the fest?
Yes, of course. The Jazz at the Lights is still growing. It's not as big as Jazz on the Lake. Jazz on the Lake, we're a 20,000 strong, you know, a crowd of audiences. And this one is completely different, but we've got about 8,000 people. And we would like to encourage people to get their tickets. The festival is on the 29th of March at the zoo, starts at 10. And tickets are available at Web Tickets. They are running out fast, and because it's a very limited number that we're catering for.
Quite often when there are events or activities by the private sector, we often ask if there's any government assistance and what collaborations there have been on that front. And we were speaking before the cameras were rolling that you're not seeing a lot of collaboration, especially from the private sector. Just talk to us about that journey in terms of finding partners and sponsors to further grow this concept.
I think, you know, as a city of Johannesburg, we've distinguished ourselves in terms of quality programming and how we curate quality activities. And I know that there are all these perceptions about, you know, government, because this is a fully and wholly government-supported event. We are collaborating with the provincial government from Gauteng, but we would like to get more private corporates, particularly media houses, to come on board, because this is an important festival and offering for the city, you know.
And what would that involvement do? What impact would it have, especially for the artists and the supporting acts and the industry that, like you mentioned earlier on, the people that set up the stages, the food stalls? What would that collaboration do for all those supporting structures?
The impact would be immense, because we have a lineup of 15 artists. And if you calculate that each artist has got a band of an average of 5, unless you're Ipupolika Biko, which are also on the lineup,
yes,
you know, you can easily get 10 to 15 people on stage. And those are jobs that are being created. You know, there are managers who are managing these artists. There are all of these other support services across the value chain. And this will be a massive impact on that. But also, it's a very important for companies to catalyze their brand currency, you know, because it's such an important, you know, get-together for families, for young people, for children. And you can build a future market for your brand, you know, through the association with Jazz in the Lights.
So speaking of that audience, what can the patrons expect apart from that amazing lineup, and what responsibilities do you want of them? How should they behave? What are the do's and don'ts?
We encourage, you know, our patrons to arrive early so that they can enjoy the amenities of the zoo. You know, the ticket does allow you free access into the zoo, and you can take the children around, you can take the elderly around. We've got a special price for pensioners. But we also, because it's a family-oriented event, we don't allow any firearms. We also don't allow any alcoholic beverages. They will be sold inside. There's food that's going to be sold inside. And this is actually to make sure that we capitalize the opportunities for people that will be selling food and beverages within the festival.
All right, Vuyisile, always an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. This is an absolutely beautiful event, and we certainly do hope that this initiative will go as far as you intended to go. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you so much.